स्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Hare Krishna. Today we will be discussing Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 2, text 54. Arjuna uvacha stita pragnasya ka bhasha samadhisthasya keshava stita dhihi kim prabhasheta kim asita vrajeta kim. Now Krishna so far had explained how a stita pragna or a realized soul should act in Buddhi Yoga. And now Arjuna is asking Krishna some pertinent questions how he can identify this realized soul. So he's saying, Arjuna Uvacha, O Keshava, Stita Pragnasya, one who is situated in Krishna consciousness, Stita Pragna, Samadhisthasya, one who is situated in Samadhi, always meditating on Krishna. So Stita Pragnasya Samadhistasya Ka Bhasha, what is his language? Stita Dihi, one who is situated, one his intelligence. Dihi means intelligence or sometimes consciousness. Stita Dihi, who is situated properly in Krishna consciousness. Kim Prabhasheta. Kim Prabhasheta means how does he speak? Kim Asita, how does he sit? Vrajeta Kim, how does he walk? So it's a very interesting set of questions Arjuna is asking. O Krishna, a realized soul, how do I identify what language he speaks? How does he speak? What is the content of his speech? How does he sit? How does he walk? So now, when we hear these questions, we wonder from external perspective, it seems that this question is about a model or a person, Mr. Universe or somebody, during some contest. How does he speak? How does he walk? All external characteristics. And so, should we also learn, like if Krishna says, oh, he should speak this particular language, say Sanskrit, should we go and learn Sanskrit and become self-realized? Or he should sit in a particular way and just we should also practice sitting in that way? And he should walk in a particular way, we should imitate that walking? No, obviously not. Arjuna is not interested in those kind of things. This is some serious philosophical questioning going on. So these words indicate something deeper. So Prabhupada says in the purport, as a rich man has his symptoms by which he is known as a rich man, as a diseased man has his symptoms by which he is known as diseased, or as a learned man has his symptoms, so a man in transcendental consciousness of Krishna has specific symptoms in various dealings. One can know his specific symptoms from the Bhagavad Gita. This is the reason why Arjuna is asking that question. Ka bhasha, what language does he speak? For example, what does it indicate? See, in Sanskrit, bhasha means, of course, language. The other way to look at it is bhashyam. Bhashya means that which describes something. Like, for example, Srila Baladeva Vidyabhushana, one of our acharyas in our line, he has written Govinda Bhashya, or a commentary on Vedanta Sutra, describing Vedanta Sutra. Each sutra he describes. What does it mean? What does it explain? So, Bhashya refers to detailing of a person, characteristics, or something, explaining something. So, in this sense, Bhashya doesn't refer to only language, it refers to something which is described. And generally, how we describe things with its characteristics. So, when Arjuna says Bhasha, Ka Bhasha means how is the Bhashya done with this particular person? What are the characteristics of such a person? Or as Prabhupada writes, what are the symptoms of a person in transcendental consciousness? That's what this Bhasha refers to. Bhashyam. Kim Prabhasheta? The next question Arjuna is asking. What is the manner of speech or what is the content of speech? Very important. Kim Asita? How does a person sit? Asita means sit literally, or it also can mean situated. How is he situated with respect to his senses? How does that person regulate his senses and keep them under control? So, seating is a physical activity, you are at rest. So, asita can also means how do you situate your senses so they are stable. So, it refers to regulation in senses, sense control. How does this person restrain his senses so that they become situated properly? Asita. Vrajeta kim? How does this person walk? Of course, Arjuna is not referring to walking with style or in a fashion show, whatever. How does this person move around when this world is filled with temptations? How does he move around in this world full of sense objects? How does he properly walk without getting disturbed? So that's what this refers to. So Krishna will answer these questions that Arjuna posed in the next sections. Particularly next verse, Krishna speaks Ka Bhasha. What are the characteristics of this person? He defines in the next verse. And Kim Prabhasheta, how does a person speak, is answered in 56th and 57th verse. Kim Asita, how does he restrain his senses? Krishna answers in 58th to 63rd verse. And how does he move around in this world? Kim Rajeta, how he engages his senses when the world is full of temptations. He answers in verses 64 through 71. So, we will see as we progress in this chapter, Krishna answering all these questions. The rest of the chapter is all about answering Arjuna's questions. Now, talking about these characteristics of this self-realized soul, a self-realized soul, samadhi, sthita prajna, sthitadihi, he's also called. He's also called sadhu. So, when we think of a sadhu, usually we think somebody who is very calm, peaceful, unagitated, all these kind of things, which is of course true. But if that person is not authorized or approved by a spiritual master to be a sadhu, practicing proper principles as ordained in scriptures, externally looking at somebody, we may not be able to make out whether he is a sadhu. It could be by a dress, or it could be by his demeanor, by his actions, even. Sometimes it can be deceiving. Like, for example, Srila Prabhupada, he was once asked, Swamiji, when a thief comes in this house to steal something, what you will do? And Prabhupada said, so why should a thief come and steal something? We are providing the proper food that anybody wants. Anybody is welcome. Nobody can go hungry once they come here. He can happily eat and go. No. If he still comes to steal things, what should we do? So Prabhupada said, so these people were expecting a very sadhu kind of answer, the traditional sadhu kind of answer. No, we are peaceful people. We don't hate anybody. We treat everybody equally. The Prabhupada, to their surprise, he said, no, thief means he must be punished. He must be handed over to the police according to the law. And then they were all surprised. Oh, you are a sadhu. You are trying to hurt somebody, harm somebody, hate somebody. Or, for example, Prabhupada one time he said, his spiritual master, when there was a snake suddenly in the temple room, he ordered immediately kill him. And then Prabhupada himself was surprised. Oh, how is it that we should respect every living entity? And how is it that my spiritual master, the greatest sadhu, he's asking the snake to be killed? Later on, Prabhupada, he saw this shloka from Bhagavatam in 7th canto, where it is said, Modeta sadhurapi vrishchika sarpa hatya. The great saintly people, they become modeta, means they become happy. Vrishchika sarpa hatya, upon the destruction of somebody who is vrishchika sarpa, a scorpion, a snake which is full of enviousness, or a person who is demoniac like this. When the demons are killed, the sadhus become happy. Why? Because the demons create disturbance in the society. And Krishna comes himself personally to eradicate the demoniac who disturb the peace and happiness of the society, who kill the spiritual aspect of the society. So in this way, if one does not know the proper principle, like Parikshit Maharaj, for example, he is supposed to be Rajarshi. He is going on with a sword and killing anybody who is not behaving properly, who is perpetrating sinful activities, who is breaking regulative principles. Like this Kali Purusha was about to kill a cow and a bull, and Parikshit Maharaj was about to chop off his head. How is he a Rajarshi? He's supposed to be a Rishi. No. Rishi or Sadhu is not by external appearance. It is by bona fide actions, acting according to scriptural regulation. He has to know what is right, what is wrong. Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha janana vidur asuraha. The asura cannot know what is right and what is wrong. So that is why the dharma, proper dharma, dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhaya mahajano yena gatah sapantha. Real dharma, how to act properly, is embedded in the heart of a mahajana. And how do we understand mahajana? Mahajanas are mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Swayambhu narada shambhu kumara kapilo manuhu prahlada janako bhishmo balir vayyasaki vayam. So these 12 personalities, Lord Brahma, Narada, Lord Shiva, Kumaras, Kapila Deva, son of Devahuti, Swayambhu Manu, Prahlad Maharaj, Janaka Maharaj, Bhishma Dev, Bali Maharaj, Sukadeva Goswami, Yamaraj. These are all Mahajanas whose activities define what is dharma. Or any personality who is authorized in disciplic succession from these personalities is also a Mahajana, representing these 12. So anybody who is not authorized or who is not a Mahajana, even though their activities externally may look like sadhu activities, we have to be very careful in following them because they may not know the right principle. Like Prabhupada exposes one sadhu, this particular very famous sadhu in India. So this sadhu, he is so sadhu that one time he gave knowledge to his disciple and he said, "Oh, now I have given all my knowledge. I am fully vacant now. I don't have anything." And one might think, "Oh, see, such a humble person." But Prabhupada exposes that this is not spirituality. Spiritual knowledge is not like material knowledge or something material where you consume something from the plate and the plate becomes empty. This is foolishness. In the name of spirituality, they are propagating foolishness. So one has to know who is a right sadhu. It's very important one understands Bhagavad Gita properly, not become sentimental in understanding who is a proper sadhu. That is why Arjuna's questions are very, very pertinent. Ka bhasha, how does he act? What are his characteristics? So that he sets the standards. He sets the standards how to behave properly. Like in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu one time he goes to Mathura. So there he meets one Brahmana. The Brahmanas in those days had different sections. He belonged to a section called Shanodiya community. It's considered in the social etiquette, the lower. And typically the sannyasis, they would not accept somebody as disciple or dine in their home if they belonged to the Shanodiya community. So this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went to Mathura. He meets this Brahmana from this community. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as usual, he starts to sing and dance, chant the holy names of the Lord, perform the congregational Sankirtana. And this Brahmana also starts to chant and dance in ecstasy, not just externally posing or something. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could detect that this Brahmana is chanting and dancing in ecstasy. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after that, he asks this Brahmana, "My dear such and such, you seem to be dancing in ecstasy. And you must have definitely associated with a great personality. Without the association of a great personality, you cannot develop such transcendental symptoms of chanting and dancing." And he says, this Brahmana, the great Madhavendra Puri, excuse me. So Madhavendra Puri is this grand spiritual master of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this Madhavendra Puri, of course, the glories of Madhavendra Puri are unlimited. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, his glories are enunciated. So without going into too much of detail, Madhavendra Puri is one of the greatest personalities in our Sampradaya. In fact, he is the personality who has brought the Madhurya Rasa to our Sampradaya, which was filled with the bhava of worshipping Krishna in Vaikuntha as Narayana, full of opulence and reverence. But the bhava of worshipping Krishna in Goloka, that sweetness of Madhurya Rasa has been first brought by Madhavendra Puri. So he's not an ordinary personality. So this Brahmana said, Madhavendra Puri, when he came to Mathura, he has accepted me as his disciple and he has dined in my home. He accepted the prasada cooked by me, even though he was sannyasi. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, immediately he falls at his feet because He's literally on the status of his spiritual master. And then Brahmana becomes surprised and he says, "My Lord, don't do that." And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, "I will accept prasadam from your home." And this Brahmana becomes surprised. "No, I'm from this Shanodiya community. How can you do that? And your reputation will be sullied." And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, "No, no, no. The great Madhavendra Puri has set the standard." What is the standard? He said, he has accepted you as his disciple, even though you belong to this community. He has accepted prasadam from your home, so I should follow suit. So the standard is set by the great personality. Dharmasthapana hetu sadhur vyavahara. Sadhur vyavahara sets the standard of action, and one should follow that sadhu. Like Srila Prabhupada sets the standard for how to act like a sadhu, how to think like a sadhu, how to speak like a sadhu. And we just follow. If we follow Srila Prabhupada, a Acharya preaches by his behavior. Acharya means one who also acts according to what he preaches. Apani Achari Prabhu Jivera Shiksha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught by his example. So, this is the characteristic. And then, coming to the speech, Prabhupada talks very importantly here in the purport. Most important is how the man in Krishna consciousness speaks. For speech is the most important quality of any man. It is said that a fool is undiscovered as long as he does not speak. And certainly a well-dressed fool cannot be identified unless he speaks. But as soon as he speaks, he reveals himself at once. The immediate symptom of a Krishna conscious man is that he speaks only of Krishna and of matters relating to him. Other symptoms automatically follow. So the speech is prabhasheta, is very important. One may be speaking very eloquently. So we see in YouTube many prominent personalities having hundreds of thousands or even millions of followers, and people come to temple and they hail their glories. But when I go and check them out, they are not Krishna conscious. They are very talented in speaking, in language, in decorative words, eloquence. Everything is there. They're speaking so nicely. But Krishna consciousness is missing. They're not devotees of Krishna. Then what is the use? So there was this, in the story, there was this guru who is from a very humble background, poor, but he is full of Krishna consciousness. And so he was teaching his disciples, and they came to the end of their study. They have to go out to the world, become grihasthas and all that. So they asked him, these two disciples, they were on the way out, and they asked him for the final instruction. "My dear Gurudev, what is your final instruction?" So he just said one shloka from Bhagavad Gita which ends with Samaloshtrasma Kanchanaha. Look at this pebbles or stone or gold to be the same. Or in other words, even if you find something very valuable in this world which doesn't belong to you, look at it as it's just pebbles on the street. So these two disciples started going out. And one of them is very ambitious, even though he has studied under the spiritual master. His mind was full of material desires. The other one is very content. So they were walking, and of course they wanted to start this journey with, a lot of promise, a lot of ambition he had, one of these disciples. in the next phase of his life. So it was becoming dark in the evening. They had to pass through some forest area, and so these two disciples, one place under the tree, they started to see something very shining, and then they went a little closer. It was a jewel, and it seems like somebody had forgot on the way of taking rest and left with a forgetting their jewel. And then this man, the good disciple, said, "No, see, our Guru Maharaj said the instruction, Samalos Trasma Kanchanaha, it's not ours, so you should ignore it." But this other man said, "No, no, no. How can you ignore it? It's going to help me. I'm going to become rich. I'll start my life with a bang." And then he went closer, and then he wanted to capture the jewel. And suddenly, the jewel is placed on a basket. And suddenly, this snake comes out of the basket and bites him with its venom, and this man falls down, fully infested with the snake poison. And then this good disciple is watching from the other corner. He sees that from the tree, somebody jumps out, takes out all this person's belongings, and puts the snake back in that basket, puts the jewel in his pocket, runs away with all the money, all the belongings of this person. And then this good disciple comes and rescues him, and he knew how to chant the mantras to get out of this poison, and somehow rescues him. And then he realizes how this man on the tree, he is using this jewel to attract these people, but once they come closer, the snake will come and bite. So one should not be tempted by this jewel. Or in other words, if one is decorated with ornamental language, eloquence, speech, learned credits, lot of degrees, Sanskrit expertise, that's not necessarily a qualification for somebody to be recognized as a self-realized person. Whether his content is Krishna conscious, whether he is speaking as it is from Bhagavad Gita or as he thinks, whether he is speaking the spiritual subject matter as it should be spoken in line with Vedic knowledge or as he thinks out of mental speculation. So we may be attracted like this man is attracted to the jewel, but we'll be bitten by this poison of material sense gratification in the name of spirituality, or Mayavada in the name of spirituality, and we'll be doomed. So one should be very careful to hear from somebody who is only Krishna conscious, who belongs to proper sampradaya. So all these questions will be nicely answered by Krishna in the next few verses. We'll stop here. Anybody has any questions or comments, feel free to unmute yourself. Bhagavad Gita as it is, ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.